Welcome back to Let's Make a Game. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can change your inventory system so that it keeps track of the total weight that the player character is carrying. This is more realistic than the system that we had in the previous video, where there's a set number of items that the player character can carry. Because of course some items are very light and it's easy to carry many of them, and some items are heavy and you couldn't carry more than one of them. So we have some example code here where we have the inventory. We're carrying 3 items. This time it also tells us the weight of those items, and you can see that 2 of them are very light, one of them is quite heavy, and the text says the chest is quite difficult to carry and you consider dropping it. If we keep it, we then come across a circular shield, and if we try to pick it up, it tells us no, you can only carry a total weight of 100 at a time. Whereas if we restart, and this time we do choose to drop the chest, and now we will find that we can pick up the shield. And you can see how that would make sense. You can see how having a large chest, if you come across a shield, you can't really carry both of them. You have to put one down, but what you do with the necklace or the key isn't going to make any difference. It's really the one heavy item that is the important one. So let's have a look at the code that allows that to happen. We need to change the array that was keeping track of the item names, because now it needs to keep track of the item names and also their weight. So it's now a 2-dimensional array. I've also renamed it. And for each slot, that slot is itself an array, with slot 0 being the name and slot 1 being the weight. Item max is still in the program, but now it represents how much weight the player character can carry, and it is 100 rather than 3. The array item underscore present, which keeps track of which items the player character has, is not changed. Story caption has changed somewhat. You might have noticed that as well as showing the item name, we're also showing the weight. We have the same for loop that goes from 1 to the length of the array relating to the item name and weight. And if item underscore present, that number, the one we're looking at, is equal to 1, then we display the details. There is a new bit of code, this one here, that says if $SBA is equal to 0, $SBA now represents the weight that the player character is carrying rather than the number of items. But if that is equal to 0, then we have this row where we have the headings item and weight. Instead of increasing SBA by 1, we add the weight of the item. And as well as displaying the name, we're also displaying its weight. The reason we display the weight is so that the player doesn't forget which items are the heavy one, because some items, their name doesn't make it clear how big it is. Like, for example, a statue. Well, that could be sort of heavy, but you can put it over your shoulder, or it could be the Statue of Liberty, you couldn't possibly carry it. Or a box, well, that could be a tiny little box that fits in one hand, or it could be a big sea chest that sort of takes 2 hands to carry. And so it makes a lot more sense to let the player know the weight of every item. This passage is basically the same. This passage is also basically the same. The only significant change is that instead of saying if SBA is less than item max, in other words, if you're carrying less than the maximum number of items, you can take the item. Well, now we say if SBA plus the weight of this new item is less than the total weight you can carry, you can take the new item. Otherwise, we give the message saying, no, you can only carry a certain weight at a time. And that is how you change your inventory so that it relates to weight. Now, there are other changes you could make to this. For example, you might say, well, do I have to do this every time I want to pick up an item? Wouldn't it be better to have a single passage which is accessed every time there's an opportunity to get an item? And similarly, having to hand code this item is difficult to carry and I should drop it. Well, shouldn't that just be an option that I can do at any time during the game? I can drop any item that I happen to be carrying. Well, those are things that, if you're interested, I will show you how to do, but I will leave it there for now. I hope that was useful or interesting to at least some of you, and I hope you will tune in next time.